unleashing humanity from the tyranny of gravity. We are LiftPort. Okay, back for part number 2. So I want to tell you about the Engadget Expand experience. We're going to have some links on that. Take a look at Engadget Expand. It was really terrific. As you guys know, Engadget has been following our project pretty closely since our Kickstarter campaign last August. I think they've done 5 or 6 interviews so far, and there's more on their way. So they've really come out in support of what we're doing. It was actually great getting down there and meeting these people. It turns out 4 or 5 of them had actually backed our original campaign, which is why they're so interested. And there's only about 50 or 60 of those folks, so that's a pretty big part of their population. Great guys. Anyway, so I went down there. I was there Friday, Saturday, Sunday, into Monday. I arrived on Friday and immediately met up with Len. Len has been a part of the space elevator community for about 6, 7, 8 years now. I really got to know him quite a bit better last year after the space elevator conference, and then again on my epic trip down to California just after the Kickstarter campaign concluded. He's been pretty interested in the project. I'm going to tell you more about him in a later video, but we went out to dinner and had a great time just hanging out, talking about the project, talking about the progress we'd made in the last 5 months. So it was really nice to have him just, hang out with him for a bit. He and his wife and his daughter are pretty interested in what happens in the space elevator. So that's a continuing story. I'll tell you more later. Really, the meat of this was Saturday when I actually got to the Engadget Expand event. It's a huge hall down in Fort Mason, San Francisco. On the front of it was the exhibit hall. We'll talk about the exhibits in a minute. We'll probably talk about them on tomorrow's video. But then you had the main stage area and then the behind the curtains section. So each one of those were actually pretty interesting in their own right. Some of the highlights, there were so many things that happened, but one of the highlights was I got to spend about 20 minutes or half an hour talking to Yancey Strickler. He's one of the co-founders of Kickstarter. So I had this big fanboy moment where I rushed up to him and shook his hand. I was all excited to meet him, and I told him that the project that they developed, Kickstarter, was a force for good in the world, and I wanted to just personally say thanks for, and express gratitude for giving us a second chance. It was great. It was really good talking to him. He told me he was well aware of our project and knew about it, so that was nice to see. Considering there's 40,000 funded projects on Kickstarter now, having him even aware of us was pretty helpful. We actually talked about that. We talked about how our LiftPort campaign had to fit in their technology bucket. They have about 13 categories. We didn't fit anywhere. So we talked about potentially creating a research bucket and a new category for research. That was really pretty interesting. As you guys know, we've had problems with the Kickstarter backend solution, so we talked about some of that. He was really, really engaging and very interested in the situations that we had encountered and how to make Kickstarter better. So that was really nice. Very open, very engaging guy. I was really pleased to meet with him. We're going to kind of have an ongoing dialogue, I think.
See, at LiftPort, man, we hurdle every obstacle. There's a difference between difficult, hard, and the impossible. Improbable to put an obstacle on what you do. You can't tell me sky's the limit, cause we're going to the moon.